Everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Fionuala, and I'm a gardener in Zone 9B, specifically Northern California, even more specifically Petaluma, Northern California. And today we're going to dive right into what you can do and what you should do in your garden in February. So starting off, any sunny day possible, get outside and garden and have a look to see what's going on in your garden. You're going to start seeing buds swelling, foliage emerging, bulbs popping up, and you're going to have chores to do too. So let's get going. I want to start with the fun stuff today. We'll talk about the chores a little bit later on. So let's get going. So camellias. I have my favorites. I've got my favorite sasanquas. Pinkaboo is probably my favorite sasanqua. It's a fall bloomer. It's done now in my garden, but oh my goodness, simple little pink blooms. Hummingbirds love it, and it's just adorable. But for the bloomers now, we've got the japonicas and the japonica crosses. This particular one right here is fairy blush, one of my top favorites. Unbelievable little plant. It's just so charming. The branches are very upright, and look at the number of buds on it. I mean, it's astonishing, the sheer number of buds. And the buds themselves are super cute. And then they open up to these really pretty little simple blooms that are just this apple blossom pink, gorgeous little stamens in the middle. And on top of all that, there's even a fragrance. It is absolutely amazing. And I, obviously can't get enough of it. The other favorite I want to tell you about is buttermint. Look at this one. It's between these two. What am I going to plant this year in my yard? Buttermint has these gorgeous, again, somewhat simple blooms. They're on the smaller size, billions of buds. And this little simplicity of this buttery, pale ivory bloom against the deep green foliage, again, can't get enough of this. It's so elegant and stunning. So we got charming, delightful fairy blush, elegant, stunning buttermint. Which one am I going to pick? There are so many vegetables that positively thrive if you plant them right now in February. There's a lot of things you can start from seed, but don't forget, this time of year the birds are hungry, the mice are hungry, and you're going to need to protect those little seeds and those tiny seedlings from birds and mice. Or you can make a nice little head start and get veggie starts. So there's chard, radicchio, endive, lots of different greens and brassicas, so many different things that positively thrive planted in February. The other thing you can do is start seeds indoors for your tomatoes and peppers and eggplants. February is a perfect time to do that. By the time those transplants are big enough to go outside, the weather's warmed up, the soil has warmed up, and those tomato seedlings and pepper seedlings and eggplant seedlings will be ready to go and get going and give you your summer veggies. February is really when you need to finish up pruning your fruit trees, your deciduous fruit trees, and your deciduous vines and your rose bushes. The rose bushes we have here and those in my garden, they're already beginning to leaf out with fresh new growth. So right here, it's a little late for my rose bushes, but if they haven't leafed out, budded up yet, go ahead, finish pruning there. And with the fruit trees, you can see this little pluery here. Too late to finish pruning this one. It's already leafing out, blossoming out. You don't want to go near them. It's already pushing the new growth. But your apples, your pears, they're barely showing signs of life. You can still prune those. Let's go have a look at the pears here, and you can see the difference. If you grow peaches and nectarines, and your peach or nectarine tree hasn't already budded up or blossomed, you can give it one more spray of an antifungal spray. Make sure you follow all the directions on the labels. Spray in the evenings, and also make sure you've got a window of dry weather for at least 2 days after you spray. This little nectarine is borderline too late. You can see how the buds have swelled up. I would hesitate to spray that one, but if yours aren't this far, go ahead and do it. You also want to prune back all your summer and fall blooming shrubs, anything that blooms on new wood. This is a smoke bush that is totally spectacular in the fall, absolutely spectacular. Can't even tell you how much attention it gets in the fall. So you can prune these back pretty hard. This and Lavaterra are just two that I can think of. It's a great time to prune them right now. Take them back as hard as you want, as much as a half even, to be quite honest. This is the time of year to do it. And again, it's gonna shoot up tons of new growth and fabulous blooms in the fall. Back your deciduous ornamental grasses. This miscanthus, well and truly done, and it's time to cut it back. Watch what I'm going to do. I'll cut it back low enough to allow fresh new growth to come up, but also leave enough growth on the bottom to protect any new tender foliage should there be an unexpected frost. So yeah, cut it down to 2 to 6 inches, depending on the grass, and leave just enough old growth to protect any new growth coming up if we have an unexpected frost. So in this general area, our last average frost date has always been right around April 15th. So just, you got to keep that in mind. Check your own zones for your average frost date and do this work, based around that. This grass is going to start pushing up new growth pretty soon. And I imagine there won't be an awful lot poked up above this old foliage by April 15th. I think it's going to be pretty safe. Another thing you're going to want to do right now is to prune back your summer and fall blooming perennials. This is a salvia. Doesn't bloom till late summer, and it's a really great time to prune it back. I made a head start on it already, honestly. It was up to here, we pruned it back, and this, really, you want to get it nice and tight to keep it really good. Same with most of the rest of your salvias. So yes, summer and fall blooming perennials, it's time to prune them back and feed them, but stay away from your spring bloomers because you do not want to prune off all those very soon to be flowering buds. February is also a fabulous time and a really important time to start feeding your fruit trees. All your deciduous fruit trees are going to want to be fed right now, and believe it or not, it's also time to feed your citrus. So get going on that one. The other thing you want to start feeding is all your ornamentals. Your ornamental summer bloomers, your ornamental grasses, the shrubs would really like it too. And weirdly enough, houseplants. Even though they're indoors in heated houses all winter long, they do respond to day length and temperatures outside. And you really don't want to feed them all winter. They just don't take up the food like they would now. It's time to feed your houseplants. All right, so we've talked about a lot of things today. We've talked about what's fun to plant. We've talked about what you need to be doing, such as pruning and feeding. I forgot to mention checking on your tools, make sure they're all going to be in working order, because before you know it, it's going to be spring. You're going to be out there in the thick of things. And one more thing I forgot to tell you, amend those garden beds. Mulch everything with compost. Add compost to all your garden beds. Be ready for when spring comes along. So yeah, I think that's really the chores. But one thing I really want to tell you, remind you to do, get outside, walk around your garden, Pay attention to the buds that are beginning to swell, the leaves that are beginning to emerge, the birds that are showing up in your garden, and just watch. There's probably paperwhites popped up. There's probably daffodils beginning to show. Your plums are probably blossoming already. It's an amazing time of year here in Northern California, and you need to get outside and enjoy it. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you had fun following along. Hope it wasn't too much, but sunny days, get on outside and garden. You will just have so much fun. We live in the best climate here, Zone 9B, Northern California, that really you cannot have a bad day outside. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Keep checking in with my YouTubes for more gardening tips. Drop a comment if you have any questions whatsoever. Don't forget to email if you've got more extensive questions. But the best thing of all is to come on by Cottage Gardens of Petaluma. I'm here most days, but if I'm not here, it's always a wonderful place to wander, and my people are great. So, happy gardening! See you next time!